On Saturday, June 13th, the Manchester Roundabout was the scene for a peaceful protest demonstration in support of the Black Lives Matter movement, which objects to and seeks far-reaching change around the use of lethal force by some police departments when their officers find themselves interacting with people of color. Protests like the one held at the Manchester Roundabout have been occurring frequently and across the entire country, as well as across Vermont, since George Floyd, a resident of Minneapolis, Minnesota, was killed following an encounter with a member of that city's police force on May 25th. The incident has ignited a whirlwind of demonstrations, large and small. Several students at Burn Academy were instrumental in organizing the rally in Manchester. One of them was Miley Downey.
Well, it started with a pretty simple email. After watching the news for so long and seeing everything that's been going on recently, we all really didn't want to stay silent any longer, and we realized we couldn't stay silent any longer because therefore change wouldn't happen. So we all decided to come out here in support of this huge, important, catastrophic movement to show that there needs to be change in our government and in our systems and we need police reform, and that's kind of how this all got started. But we definitely want to continue this movement. We have some other things that might be in the works concerning a social justice concert maybe, and we are still looking on resolutions and things we can do within the government to create police reform and create new legislation to change what's wrong in our country.
Another student organizer we spoke to was Aisha Navarrete.
Well, I had seen a lot of small protests here in Manchester, but I wanted a chance for the community to come together and show solidarity on this issue that I believe is 100% has to do with human rights. And while we are majority white, that doesn't mean that there aren't minorities here, and we have to show solidarity and support for all lives, which means putting Black lives first and on the front. So yeah, and I'm looking to become a lawyer, so this is kind of right up my alley. We were hoping that by bringing this to the town of Manchester, we would make a step in the right direction as far as politics all around the United States, because as we know in government, things start small, but it's every step of the way that counts.
The night before, they attended a select board meeting which secured a resolution of town support for the demonstration, which included the ringing of the town bell as part of a noontime surge of noisemaking to symbolize the first 6 minutes of George Floyd being pinned on the ground. At the 6-minute mark, the crowd, which stretched completely around the roundabout and had supporters lined up on the adjacent Main and Depot streets, fell silent for 3 minutes to symbolize the roughly 3 minutes that Mr. Floyd was unconscious but was still being pinned to the ground. We spoke with several of the demonstrators over the course of a 90-minute-long protest. Two of them were Brad Myerson, a Dorset resident and local attorney, and Rabbi Michael Cohen of Manchester.
It's very, very important. We need to do our part to let our neighbors and everyone else know that we have a serious problem in this country with police treatment of minorities, with how the government treats minorities, how we treat each other. And, you know, looking around, there are just so many young people here. It's very uplifting. We're all coming together in a positive way, trying to create a positive message for our kids, make this a better country for them to grow up in and to lead. So on so many levels, it just, you know, love over hate, togetherness over division, and looking for a better tomorrow. Hey, Mary.
So I'm wearing my button from the March on Trenton 1963. I was 5 years old. It was instead of the March on Washington my parents took me to. And it's a reminder that this is long-term effort. That was 57 years ago, and why that's way too long. If we're going to make real change, which is really about the structures and the cultural issues, we have to be in this for the long haul, and unfortunately this is a reminder of that, and this is an amazing moment that we need to keep that momentum going forward, and unfortunately it's going to still be many, many years to go before we finish this work.
We also had a chance to speak with Officer Ryan Madison, one of Manchester's police officers who was on the scene. What is your reaction to or takeaway from this event here today?
Pride is the first thing that comes to mind. Pride in my community, pride in my alma mater. Just to see what these students were able to accomplish today, and to gather the crowd that they have, to be peaceably assembling, to be pushing forward their message of unity, strength, healing. Pride is the first thing that comes to mind. And I'm just happy to be in attendance today. Happy to be here at their party. So,
did they reach out to you and discuss any arrangements or plans?
Or so
we were going to maintain things as a peaceful way.
Yep, we have been in contact with the students and staff from BBA, just as far as the event that would take place. And it was one of those things. We wanted to come to show our support for what the students are doing. But just to show our support for the accountability at large within the profession and within this country.
The crowd, which easily numbered over 300 people, attracted an apparently large amount of support from passing motorists, who honked their horns in solidarity with the protesters. The demonstration was peaceful and orderly. It's possible it won't be the last one, and there is talk of a concert or musical event for a follow-up. For now, I'm Andrew McKeever for the GNAT-TV News Project.